Nation, welcome to the Monday Report. The Globe and Mail's Andrew Coyne, a journal so infuriating that no one on either side likes him, has often suggested as a thought experiment that we imagine what the reaction would be if it were proposed that legislation should pass with the support of 35% of MPs, rather than, as at present, MPs with the support of 35% of the public. His argument being that would demonstrate how indefensible the present first-past-the-post system is, and surely make the case that we need a system based on a genuine majority rule, rather than the illusion of it. Well, I'm sorry to break your bubble there, Skippy, but no matter what system you put in, any claim to majority rule will be an illusion. Even if you could get a consistent majority of citizens to vote, which I point out again as one of the 4 constitutional obligations of citizenship expressly written into Canada's Charter of Rights and Freedoms, you know, that document that anti-vaxxers use to attack Trudeau's policies as unconstitutional, despite having never read more than a sentence of it. You know, another obligation is to obey all laws, including temporary health mandates. Even if you could get that majority to vote, no matter how you count it, a majority would be an illusion. Proportional representation isn't going to get you it. In fact, the opposite will be true with more of the shenanigans we've seen since Trudeau slipped into minority territory, and less stability as coalition after coalition formed and failed after playing chicken with even more uncoordinated opposition parties. Look, coast to coast, Canadians complain about inaction, the exact result of not having a majority government in office. But Prop Rep would deliver the opposite of what Canadians say they want. Well, every matter was tied up listening to every single party's opinion before any compromises would occur. I mean, if you think Trudeau and the NDP affiliation is bad, imagine the government needing 6 minor parties, many with very few but loud MPs, in order to get anything done. Ranked ballots are also an illusion. Unless the first choice gets more than 50% of the vote of more than 50% of the voters of more than 50% of the population, what you have isn't majority rule. It's a bad case of, I can't have pizza and I don't like carrots, so I guess meatloaf is okay. That's not exactly a mandate. Sure, our representative democracy skews the results, but any system will do the same. At least ours generally creates a majority government that can then be held accountable for what they do without the expensive excuses of compromise, coalition, commonality, or caution getting in the way. And you know, Trudeau hasn't had that since 2019, and yet has somehow managed to keep his eye on the ball, passing bills that kept Canada from the worst effects of the pandemic and repair a lot of damage done to our infrastructure and supply chains by previous governments of both parties. So while there's a lot to fix with the nation, the fact is, blame must be spread around to all parties right now, and particularly to those who vote against good ideas they themselves would have put in had they been in power, but which they reject out of hand because they're coming from the other side. You know, if you're not part of the solution, Conservative Party of Canada, you're part of the problem. Meanwhile, Doug Ford does have it. A representative majority, that is, so everything that's wrong with Ontario, and that list grows exponentially every day, is 100% Doug Ford's fault. He can't even blame the feds for things, since his federal counterparts are part of the problem. But as my grampy used to say, Ford stands for fix or repair daily. Though how he knew about Doug is anyone's guess. And now this.